to everybody in the chat for the second time. I thought I was already streaming, but it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, and I don't think I hit go live. I've hit it now, so you should be seeing the image of Dr. Bees here with his cornucopia of gifts, and you should be hearing me too. Hello, Fun Cubes! How are you doing? Hello, Sniggity Snick! And hello, Dorkymations, very talented animator. Dorkymations does great kind of Spumco, very energetic, maybe John Kay inspired, great, well-constructed, funny cartoons. Check out Dorkymations. We have a few animators in the chat. Hello, Sam Gay. You're now called Animator 11, but you used to be Sam Gay. Are you still Sam Gay? Hello, Killer Quality, VGA Fanatic, we know him, and Arch Hippie, hey Arch Hippie, and the Ashos. Hello, everybody. So, let me give you a little bit of a lowdown on what I'm doing today. I'm going to be live streaming a bit of production on Dr. Bees Forever. I'm really hoping for an epic release later this month, and that'll be some form of release, a bowel release, a seminal release. I've already made this terrible joke because I had a bum start. I was streaming a minute ago, but I hadn't hit live yet. So hopefully I'll clip that off and you won't hear me say the exact same thing twice. But yeah, I'm planning to put out the cartoon this month, and this is going to be me celebrating with my medal, my cornucopia of gifts, and my tiara, and my trophy wife. So I will try and do a bunch of these streams. I'm hoping for like 12. I think I said 1 of 12 in the title. I probably won't stick to 12. I might only do 3 or 4. We'll see how we go. But yeah, the idea is that I get some streams out to, well, to show you that I'm working and to give us some content here, because it's been a long time, and I don't know if this cartoon, when it's finally released, is going to live up to the hype. Not that there's much hype, but hey, RHBES! RHBES, also a really talented group of animators. They did the Bat Metal cartoon, if you ever saw that. VGA Fanatic says, fingers crossed you can get it out this month. Yeah! Everything crossed. Every kind of body part is going to be crossed as I try to get this cartoon out. Eyes crossed, mostly. So what we're going to do today is a bit of animation and a bit of colouring. And oh boy, is it going to be boring! Because animation tends to be kind of a dull thing to do on stream. I've got this shot here of Dr. Bees basically just... so I've got like... Actually, I'll show you. I'll open up the file. So this is like a thing I have saved just because it's a useful piece of animation. This... it's funny. We've got all these layers. So usually he has this like default expression, which is that one. And you can see I flipped the chest there because this is probably looking the other way originally. But we don't want the happy expression. We want the miserable expression with the animation like that. He's all just like... And so basically he looks like this. Minus... So I've got these layers. Hang on. Looks like this. Okay, so he's worried and he's facing the right way. And then he turns, and then we have this little walk cycle of him trotting away. That I didn't animate the walk cycle today. I took an old walk cycle, but I redid the face and I had to animate the chest looking in the opposite direction. So basically he just does this worried kind of, oh, I don't like this, kind of walk away as he's freaking out. So I'm gonna do the turn today. I don't have anything for a turn, so we're gonna do that in Toon Boom Harmony, and I'm just gonna draw some frames. I'm hoping, I don't know if we can get away with 2. Probably can get away with 3 frames. Probably 2 would be fine. But I've got to figure out a pen that is going to be right for the animation. In terms of thickness, I'm thinking... where is it? I'm thinking something like... Something... That's the wrong tool, Harry. Something like that. That's a number 3. That'll do the trick. That will do the trick. And that's a very rubbish frame that I drew in Flash, just to give me an idea. I've actually noticed there's a problem with the feet, which I'll get to in a moment, but let's just start drawing the head, kind of dipping down. Something like that, and then I can start taking some questions and saying hello to more people in the chat. Once we've got some anchoring details. You should never do what I'm doing and just start drawing without any kind of construction underneath, but I don't have time for construction. I'm just going to be muddling through some very rough drawing and trying to figure things out as we go, because we're using technology. We have the wonders of Toon Boom Harmony and the vector format, so I can just grab things. I can rotate them, I can copy and paste them. So he's got two heads. Doing a lot of things like that are going to be very interesting. So we'll do what we can to get through this this frame quickly, and probably 3 frames will do it. Okay, so he's got like a worried kind of look. I don't think it matters if the expression isn't too well drawn, because we're just plowing through it. Hey, VGA Fanatic says, I love that we're getting a progress report on Dr. B's episode 4. At the same month, we get Suction Cup Man. Oh, okay, yeah, Pymations working on Suction Cup Man. Good for him. Sonic Sludge 150 says, hey there, Harry. I'm curious, how was it working on Smiling Friends? Do you mean voice acting, or do you mean animation on MIP? Let me know, Sonic, what you mean by working on Smiling Friends. I will say, it was all a joy. No complaints working on Smiling Friends. Zach and Mike were very nice to me. No complaints, so it was good either way, but I don't know specifically if you're talking about animation or voice acting. So we've got to draw that cursed bee and put a little bit of work there on the antenna, so they sort of drag a bit. This is not by any means beautiful drawing. This is just Harry banging it out, getting it done. I just had a lovely time tonight. I socialized a little bit with my family. I was at my mother's house, and my uncle was there, my lovely Uncle Robbie, and my sister arrived just as I had to leave, which is a shame. I would like to see her more. She's got a baby now, so her lovely baby Bonnie was there, who is adorable. But I had to fly. I couldn't be a fun uncle. I had to go. But yeah, I was talking about work tonight, which I normally do, which is like not what you want to be boring family with. Very nice to have a little Christmassy socializing type thing, and then I had to go because I had a live stream, so I was there for like not enough time. I'd still be there now. I'd like to be drunk. So if you can become inebriated tonight through the power of alcohol, on my behalf, I would appreciate that. Please send me photographs. The Ashos says, do you play an instrument? I have played guitar since I was about 13, 14. I started on bass guitar, and then I branched into real big boy guitar, although I will not say by any stretch of the imagination that I've kept up with it. I think I've diligently played between sort of 13 and 17, maybe 16, 17. Took it very seriously, but all of my ability, all my skill was accrued in that period of time and then never advanced. So the stuff that I learned to do, and I never really grew beyond that. So definitely, if you take playing an instrument seriously, you've got to practice, and you've got to always challenge yourself and grow. But I used to think when I was 15, this is already looking weird. I used to think when I was 15, like, I'm gonna be a musician. And that was my thing. Actually, no, that was a 13, 14 thing. 13, 14 thing. By 15, already starting to get into animation. Already starting to think, wait a second. Kind of like movies. I kind of like movies, and animation is sort of like movies for people that don't want to have to go outside and meet people. And all the movies I wanted to make would have monsters and gore and spaceships in them anyway, so it's not like I can do that stuff. I'm 15 and it's the year 2003, so I'll just draw it all. Kind of like comics a lot, actually. Yeah, 16, 17 was the animation age. Comics, I still thought I'd do comics when I was 15. I really thought I would do comics, and I did eventually do a comic, I suppose. Starbarian Tales, which you can now get in digital format on the Patreon, or you can buy it from Shark Robot. It won't arrive in time for Christmas, but I'd still appreciate it. So yeah, Mushy Dub says the channel got demonetized. How? Why? Yeah. So I'm not gonna mention it every damn opportunity, but I'll mention it occasionally. The channel got demonetized purely through lack of use. I didn't live stream very often, so they took away the monetization. It's not because I did anything wrong, I just didn't use it. So it's kind of a use it or lose it thing with this channel. My main channel's still monetized. So yeah, like some people have asked occasionally about super chats, so I put up the PayPal link, but you don't need to You don't need to use it at all. It's there in place of where used to be, you know, the super chat option. Okie dokie. We want to make sure I'm keeping up to date with the tabs and the chat. So, Arch Hippie says it's better to be the Funkle rather than the Drunkle. I would like to be both. I don't draw any distinction or criticism at the idea of being a Drunkle. I would be a Drunkle. My niece is very cute, though. She's very cute. She honestly, you don't need to be boozed up around my niece because she is just so cute and adorable. She's a little baby. She just turned 1. You can just see her and hang out with her, and it feels like a drug, man. It's a natural high. It's a natural high. It's really funny to kind of know a baby. I was thinking that the other day. It's like, because I know them, but I wouldn't say that I know them because they don't know me. They don't know what's going on yet. They're just like, they've just been born and they're just starting to figure things out. So it's like, I guess, would I put her in my friends group in The Sims? You know, we more than 50% on The Sims, where, you know, if you go below 50%, you're no longer friends. I would consider her a friend. Well, she's my family, so I would consider her more than a friend. But yeah, she doesn't know I exist, really. She sort of does. She's just starting to kind of, the more I see her, she's just starting to kind of, I don't know, smile a little bit more, look a little bit less afraid. But so let me see. Did Sonic asks? No, Sonic didn't specify if they were talking about. Oh, okay, yes, you did say both. How was it working on Smiling Friends? Both the animation and the voice acting. Voice acting was really fucking easy. Michael and Zach, they let me do some stuff without even directing it. They just say do a bunch of takes, and I send over a bunch of takes, and they pick the one they want. And I think the only time I ever had to do a retake was when I literally forgot one of the lines that was in the script. I think it was a 3D Squelton had a line, and I just didn't record it. I glazed over and forgot to record that one. The animation on MIP was a lot more effort and time and strain. That was a challenge. That was a real challenge because we just had not enough time to do it in, and not enough well, time is the big thing, but we got it done just about. And I wish I'd made it funnier. I think the time constraints meant there wasn't a lot of time for kind of getting things approved and figuring things out and testing things. Had there been, I would have made a lot more, I feel a lot more choices. I would have been braver about, like, let's, you know, try this and try that. Because I feel like the poses are just boring and stiff, and there's really nothing other than it looks a bit like a not Ralph Bakshi. Jesus, I keep making that mistake. I hear other people make it too. Because the same initials, Rankin Bass and Ralph Bakshi, have the same initials. And they both did a Tolkien animated thing. Because the Rankin Bass Hobbit films and Lord of the Rings have like a very distinct drawing style, we sort of managed to do that. I mean, I'm not besmirching my team. They did a great job. Really fantastic team on MIP. But I think we just about got the drawing style there. But I didn't go funny enough with the poses. It should have been more dainty, more like touching the face, funny, kind of curious little movements. It could have been funnier, I think, on a purely visual level. Because that, I mean, sure, Dorkymations can talk about this more than I can, but one of the great things about Smiling Friends, one of the reasons it's such a brilliant show, is that it uses the animation medium to deliver comedy purely through the animation. It'll animate. This is a distinction that, you know, people need to remember. Family Guy, I'm not on the hate and Family Guy wagon. I don't have a problem with Family Guy. I love Family Guy. I haven't watched it, you know, for years properly, but I've enjoyed it in the past very much. But it never uses the animation as a vehicle for the comedy. It's all the dialogue and the voice acting and the ideas. The ideas and the dialogue are the comedy. Like, you could basically turn off the visuals and listen to it, and you'd pretty much get what was going on. And Dr. Bees is not too dissimilar to that. The animation in Dr. Bees is very stiff. I like writer comedy. I do. Sometimes a good writer joke, like a radio show joke, can really make me laugh. I really don't. I hear it get talked about in a very kind of disfavoring way, but I like it. I can like it a lot. But Smiling Friends can do that, but it can also do the thing that Adam's Family. Jesus, Harry. Family Guy doesn't always do, it can, or doesn't often do, it can do animation comedy. It can say, well, what if this person just moved in a way that was funny? What if this face was drawn in a way that was funny? What if this hand was drawn in a way that was funny? When was the last time you saw like a Peter Griffin expression that was really funny? Like sometimes you'll see it, like the way they fall when they fall through a table is kind of distinct. It's kind of funny, but they've used that a million times now. It's become old hat. SpongeBob will do it too. SpongeBob will use animation as part of the joke. They use the medium to its fullest extent. You don't always have to do that, but I appreciate programs that do that, and definitely Smiling Friends is one of those. So that's why I think it's a rare beast among animated shows today. Super Warucha. Animator 11 says, will Zach Hadel make a cameo in Dr. Beast? No, don't get your hopes up. Zach is far too busy being successful in the real world. I'm still living in my little fantasy box. Little baby sandbox land where I make my own cartoons with my hands. That's my special little place that I've got. I'm not I'm sure if I reached out to Zach, I'm sure he'd do something like that, but let's wait until we've got something worth doing. I don't want to waste that opportunity on like I had my friend Chris O'Neill did a voice for a Starbarians project not too long ago, and I don't think it's going to come out. I don't think I'm going to do anything with it. And what a waste. Like, Chris is a busy guy. You don't want to just hit people. Like, he didn't even charge me. He just did it for free as a favor. And then there's me not using it, and it's like, well, don't do that to people. You know, people who are busy, if you're going to get a favor from them, actually make use of the favor and make use of their time. All right, I abandoned doing these bee legs. Clearly, I didn't want to draw them, so let's do that now. I hate drawing this fucking bee. I'm pretty good at drawing bees now, but I don't like drawing bees. I am sick of drawing bees. This stupid bee on his stupid head. This accursed bee. The devil's bee. Right. I feel like, oh yeah, look, this little hair curl. You know, so this like panel here, this sort of frame rather, is flipped from this one. I changed the face and the chest and the goo hanging out, the honey hanging out the box there. But little things like the hair flips direction. So we'll have the kind of a middle position there. There we go. Oh, hey, you know what? I'm hearing an owl outside my window. I've had this owl making noise the last couple of weeks in the evenings. And it's adorable. And I've named him Thurston. He's Thurston Owl. And if he ever gets a girlfriend, she'll be called Lovey. I might open my window and see if you probably won't be able to hear it, but it's nice. It's nice for me. It's comforting for me. There we go. All right. Bobo Bunga. Hey, Bobo Bunga and Dylan Rover. Bobo Bunga says, I remember Zach Hadel animated on a SpongeBob episode. Yeah, I think he did storyboards for SpongeBob. Yeah, I just had the owl again. I love that owl. So here's a little predicament we've got. An animator's folly. We have... So, you see these feet here? They're rooted, okay? And then on this one, which is the one we've got to get to, this foot is moved, which is fine. He's walking. And this foot has moved, but it's like too little of a step. So he's just slid, basically. One foot has slid. So it's not really... This happens a lot in animation, where characters kind of slide around. Man, that body is like slightly big. It's got a big, chunky body, so I'm going to slightly resize that, but... Slightly resize that, and this is the wonder of working with vector. We can do this kind of stuff. When I do bad, crappy drawing, I can move things around. Put some wrinkles in there. Alright. So he's going to have a bit of a slidey kind of start on one of his feet, but that's necessary, I think, to just get it done. That is kind of the flavor of the month. I've just got to get this thing done. I really... Oh, I noticed I drew the boots wrong here. Usually nowadays I draw the boots with a flare. The boots are like skin tight here, so I'll have to keep on that. I have to maintain that sort of slightly off model little design choice I made there with this old walk cycle. Okay. And something like that. All right. So VGA Fanatic says, I remember he made a small cameo in the first episode of Monkey Wrench. Yeah, he did. Zach was in Monkey Wrench. FunCube says, if that was me, I'd have lifted the front of my foot and the heel stayed in contact with the ground. Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, on this foot, you mean? We could maybe do that. I do slide feet around quite a bit, and I often find that, you know, it's sort of okay. It's one of the things, one of the weird sort of quirks of doing these live streams is you end up sort of putting a spotlight on some pretty crappy animation, but I don't necessarily... I sort of see my stuff as more production liney, and it's not always that you're going to get always great stuff. You just kind of... This is a very small piece of a hopefully a large puzzle, and people won't notice a small inconsistency. Yeah, like that looks bad, but crappy animation is fine. Is fine. If you were in the 90s and you were paying a studio to do that kind of thing on a TV show, a big budget TV show like Ghostbusters or, you know, Thundercats or something even, they give you an in-between that looks like that, you'd go, ah, that's fine. We're not getting a retake from the Koreans or whoever, or the Japanese that did that. That's fine. And we'll put a little bit more detail in there. Okay, so I think now all I got to do is I got to take... It's just about making that in-between work. Alright, so let's do a new in-between. Ooh, hang on now. Hang on now. So what I'm going to do is I can't unfortunately, like, I gotta overlay it. There we go. So I can actually see both the JPEG of the finished frame and the line art there. Let me save. Gotta kind of overlay them. So we'll do those 3 frames tonight, and I'll see if I can color them. And I have some sort of fairly detailed stuff. I'll show you some of the shots I've been working on here. So we've got this big Mama Jamma. We did this nice lady earlier this week, although she is done. She just needs a math. And this is not a scene that I'm working on as much as it is like a random bunch of related shots that I've just thrown together because I needed to sort of... I wanted to do them without thinking about editing or lip sync or sound or anything like that. So... this is this is really crappy. So his face needs to be animated like a big scared reaction here, but I didn't want to do any animation, so he just zoom in and all of his shit flies away. I had to animate. It took a little bit more work than you'd think. I have to animate like the metal falling off and the little bee tiara. These are not these shots. It doesn't go like from that to that. There is stuff in between, but so obviously his face is going to totally change, and that'll be all frame by frame. But I just motion tweened her and just gave her a face, so she's just like, "Aah!" As he reacts in amazement and surprise. I thought it'd be funny if she just sort of flew away. So Dr. Bees is kind of a crappy looking thing, right? It has some cheaper animation, it has some nice animation, and it has some cheap animation. And because I'm really gunning to get this out in December, I'm just doing some cheaper shots now. That was nice. One of the lady. Just needs a mouth. I won't show you that one because it's kind of funny. I did this earlier this week. This guy looks like he's not colored because his orange clothes are the same as the background, but he is colored in. That's Oversized Food Destroyer Man, who's important in the cartoon, and he does a kind of sad walk. Oh yeah, this is the thing we got to work on. Oh, this is miserable. I've got this weird tomb of an English king that he opens. So it's a tomb filled with bees, but it's a specific tomb that is not too far away from where I live, of the king Athelstan or Athelstan. I actually need to like triple check the spelling on how you say the king's name. So that's basically we got this shot here of it flying open, and I'll tween the in-betweens. I'll do like motion tweens to try and get it to look a little smoother. And I'll color that. So that'll be something I do today as well. For the time being, though, we've got to do some more in-betweens. Yeah, Animator 11. There's a lot of lines. A lot of lines. Take care, VGA Fanatic. We'll see. We may be here when you get back. Yes, you're right, VGA Fanatic. The royal coffin is going to be filled with bees. Definitely. You know what I could do? Okay. Ooh, I'm thinking that because we're kind of going from one image looking one way to another mirrored image looking another way, we might be able, if we're just looking straight forward, pretty much, we might be able to reuse this middle drawing other than the legs. I don't know. No, we're not going to be able to do that, Harry. You're a silly boy. No, we're not going to be able to do that. I'm silly. Okay, so we've got the arm coming like that. As you can tell, my roughs are very rough. All right. Okay, that should hopefully hold us in terms of a rough, and I can just get it done. Let's move these things around. Okay, so we go from this. I can make these frames a little bit easier to see now. Go from this to this to this. We'll see what we can do on that front. Now, do I have any comments? We got a bunch from Savage Obitois Sherry. I don't know how I'm saying your name there, Savage. I'll call you Savage. Yo, what's up to you? Dr. Bees can solo Goku. Definitely. Just throw a bunch of bees at him. He'll be fine. Funcube says there is only one villain that can defeat Dr. Bees. It's Professor Hornet. Is that a character I should know? Is that from Adventure Brothers or something? I never watched Adventure Brothers. Or did you make up a character, Funcubes? You dropping OCs in the chat. Okay. There we go. Oop. Need a little line on that nose there. Oh, brother. Oh, this character. This is not an animation-friendly character. A lot of my characters are like that. And I think it's funny. I think that a lot of detail can be kind of funny, but it does make them... To traditionally animate a character with a bunch of drawn detail is pretty miserable experience. So I don't recommend it unless you want to suffer a life of low proliferation of your ideas, which is not really worth it. I'm going to try and shake things up in the next year, I think, because I don't want to do this any longer. I don't want characters that are so difficult to draw that we get, 9 months between uploads, and then the new upload comes out and it's 3 minutes long. It's like, what the fuck? What sort of exchange is that of energy? That's not very good, is it? The world is moving faster and people want things quicker. They would like to have their entertainment quickly, please, and they don't want it taking forever. So I've been thinking a lot about that predicament lately, and I think that I've got some plans in the new year to sort of shake things up a bit. Some people might think that sounds negative to you know, the idea of making things in a more kind of mass market way, like, oh, you want to pump stuff out. That's not necessarily a creatively, it doesn't sound like you're enriching the world. Then it sounds like you're making sort of slop. But I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about AI. I'm just talking about, I don't know, I want to do some audiobooks, and I want to do some simpler looking characters, just stuff that is still entertainment and still drawing and still comedy and still storytelling, but isn't so married to a style of maybe even some motion tween stuff. I don't mind motion tweening, because if that's the way you're telling your jokes and that's your style that you've adopted, it can still work. Like, look at Space King. As a, you know, big popular show, a lot of people really like it. It's motion tweened. That doesn't make it any less viable as a platform for comedy and storytelling, you know? I value the Flash Kids very much. I think they're very talented and they've made some really excellent stuff. I think Space King is great. So I had a lot of thoughts lately about, I didn't draw the fucking buttons on this one. How do I miss out the buttons? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how many buttons has he got. 89, something like that. Something like that. Obito is a Naruto character, but I'll gladly take the nickname Savage. Well, thank you. I don't mind calling you Savage Obito. That might work. Yeah, okay. I see the Naruto guy in your thumbnail now. Sorry, I didn't look at your user avatar there. Boba Bunga says, Boba Bunga. I remember a Cuphead animator talking about things being fun to animate. The mermaid boss was going to have a pirate ship on her head, but they realized how awful it'd be to animate. Yeah, it doesn't sound fun. Vehicles, things like vehicles and buildings, things that are more rooted in not having any motion to them, they're like constructed, they're very solid, don't tend to be very fun to animate. Cuphead is kind of a stretchy, bouncy, cartoonish world, so I think you could probably get away with giving it some movement, but you know, there's no way in heck that I was gonna like frame by frame this in a really detailed way. This is supposed to be solid stone. That's the joke, that it's realistic and heavy looking, and you know, that would not be fun to animate in like a really detailed way. If I had to spin that in 3D or something, you might as well just use 3D in that case. Harry, have you been a good boy this year or a heretic? I think I've been better in many ways this year than last year. Without going into specifics, I think I've been okay. I've not been that like well behaved, but I need to make more stuff. I think that would be better for everybody. Everybody that I've been thinking about value lately and the idea of being of value to people. And here's kind of what I'm thinking. So I have some people in my life that are energy vampires. So I'm trying to think of like a bad, like a less cruel way of saying it. The people who take energy from you, and then there's people who are actually very giving of their energy and time. And I'm not making a qualitative judgment on those people. Actually, I want to do the opposite. I don't want to say that, and that's why you should selflessly give to other people. I'm not saying that at all. But one thing I'm noticing is over time, the energy, the more vampiric takers of energy are getting lonelier. I think they're actually having less getting less out of life than they want. And I think they're getting less out of life than they want because it's harder for them to, like, people aren't sort of gravitating to them naturally. And then I have people in my life that are the total opposite and that are like incredible value. You know, the people that will do things for you and help you and give you advice and give you their time. And again, I don't want to just say like, and therefore they're the good people and the other people are bad. But you have to, what I've noticed is I think that if you want other people to value you, you have to be of value. And if you're not helping them in any way, you're not making something that they can appreciate, or building something they can use, or helpful with your time or your energy, whatever it is, it does make for a lonelier life. I think ultimately you end up losing out on what life has to offer, which one of the great benefits of life is the contributions of other people. I said contributions in a funny way there, but the contributions of other people. Heard your bird. Yeah, other people can be extremely enriching for your life, and so I don't want to be not of value. And I've been thinking lately about, you know, my Patreon, for example. I'm very lucky to have supporters on Patreon, and I think one of the reasons that I feel lucky in that regard is because when was the last cartoon they got? It was June. It was the Starbarians cartoon that was, you know, 2 minutes long. That's not value. Even if you're only giving me $1 a month, that isn't value. You could have saved up those dollars, and you could have bought yourself, you know, Amazon Prime. You could have rented some great animated film or something, some classic, and you'd have had an hour and a half of value there. So, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. I appreciate the support hugely, but I don't want that to be the case. I feel like that's a kind of an entropic interaction where, you know, it's not enriching or helping the other person as much as it is me. I'm like taking their energy and I'm not turning it into something good for them. So I don't want to be that energy vampire, or that time vampire, that money vampire, whatever it is. I want to be good to me supporters. So all right, this guy is, I really should have sketched these frames out, boy, but I'm just winging it. Absolutely winging it here. Hello, Garnandrajat. Garnandrajat says, "Would you be my bee?" Maybe, but I take a. It would take a lot of surgery to make me bee-like in any convincing way. Hey, Tikla Studios. Funcube says, "I saw what your upload schedule was for about a decade before I joined your Patreon." Well, there you go, Funcubes. You were forged in flame and fire. You've looked directly into the upload schedule of the Abyss, and the Abyss gazed back, and then you supported the Abyss on Patreon, which I appreciate much. Thank you. Killer Quality says, "Wise words." Well, thank you. Thank you. I didn't, you know, it's nice to sometimes get a little philosophical here on the stream, but yeah, it's you gotta be valuable to people, and I'm seeing some people that are not that valuable, and I think they're hurt by it in life. I think that they're left wanting, going, why isn't the universe giving me the love and the attention that I crave? And I think, it's because you're kind of a fucking bummer to be around sometimes. And that's why, like, I'm a moaner, man. I moan to people, and I gotta try and not do that. You don't want to be around people who, if you ask someone how it's going, I think you should be prepared for the truth, and you shouldn't shy away from people if they're struggling with, you know, any issue. But it's also, everyone's going through their own stuff. You don't want to just say, oh, I got this and I got that, and my foot hurts and my head is overgrown and my armpit is swollen, and you know, all this stuff. Just I want to just try to decomplicate people's lives and not complicate them, if that makes sense. I want to try and make things easier for people, not worse. Alright, now let's get this. I don't know what this frame is, but we'll do that. Could we get away with 2 frames? Might be able to get away with 2 frames, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 frames. This is going too slowly. We'll do 2 frames. Hey, Kenna Klein says, "Love to actually catch a Harry stream. Good to listen to while working on character concept art." Thank you, Kenna. You know, Kenna, my wife Joyce has been talking about this idea lately. Basically, the monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do. Yeah, the monkey see, monkey do thing. Not calling anyone a monkey, but the thing of how when you're working on something, it can be really, if it's tough work or it's a little boring or whatever, one of the great things to do is to watch someone else do the same thing. And the example that she's been given is there's a YouTube channel, I don't know what it's called because I don't watch it. I watched like one of the videos from it, but it's this guy who does deep cleanings of houses. So he goes to these houses, usually of people who are like hoarders. They have way too much stuff, they're old or they're infirm and they can't clean, whatever their problem is, and he cleans for them, and he has a team of people that do it with him. You may even know what channel I'm talking about, but I couldn't tell you the name because, like I say, I don't know the channel that well. But she said that one of the things, my wife watching it said one of the things she learned was how the guy that runs the channel will say like how much, you know, having his cleaning channel on has helped his viewers clean. So people that don't want to clean their bedroom, they're like, oh, I don't want to clean my bedroom, this is boring. They put on his cleaning video, and there's something about watching somebody else in the act of cleaning, enjoying cleaning, being productive. There's something about, okay, yeah, I can do that, it's not too hard, or that looks easy enough, or I might enjoy that. And they're like, you kind of feel I'm on that wave. You feel like you're on the same wavelength as that person because they're doing it too. And it doesn't seem so hard and strenuous. So I've noticed that I quite like, you know, putting on video. If I have art to do, put on a video of an artist doing their art. Put on somebody talking about art or somebody doing the act of art. And it's like, yeah, all right. We're just sharing the same energy in a weird way. And that kind of helps. So I think that, I don't know what this hand is doing. It sort of appears. I don't know. This is weird animation, everyone, we're doing here. This is bottom of the barrel stuff, but yeah. So hopefully, if you're doing art, if you're doing concept art, having another artist who's engaged in the process of art too can sort of help, and you can catch some of my whatever I'm laying down. You can pick it up. If that makes sense. Super. How do you say that? Supasfoge. Does Dr. Bees like jazz? I wish I knew more about jazz. I know a little bit. Not really much. I like the film Jazz on a Summer's Day, although it's been a few years since I've seen it. He probably would like jazz, yeah. Tikla Studio says, would Dr. Bees be satisfied with the amount of bees present in the Bee movie? He probably would be. Haha, he probably would be. Yeah, there's not enough bees in this cartoon. I was thinking this the other day. I was like, fuck, there's not actually that many bees. So there is people might notice that. I'd feel very if someone was like, there's not enough scenes with bees flying around, what's going on? Because it's like the joke is not that funny. You can't just do it endlessly forever. I mean, I can, but I mean, there's a couple. To be honest, there's more bees in this than most things. There's more bees in this than you usually have. So I don't feel too guilty about a lack of bees. Alright. Is this workable? Yeah, it's probably okay. An animation tip that I heard recently that's actually been helpful, although I'm not obeying it in this case, by Richard Williams. Richard Williams, brilliant animator, directed the animation for Roger Rabbit, tons of adverts, short films, wrote the greatest book on animation, The Animated Survival Guide. The Animated Survival Kit. Something like that. I don't know, I've only read it about 23 times. He had this thing where he said that a lot of junior animators or animators in his staff would really worry about the quality of their lines, meaning that, you know, like, for example, is it a nice smooth line like that, or is it a scratchy kind of line like that, or is it slightly too thin, or is it slightly too thick? And he said they get worried about that, and especially if you're kind of in-betweening or whatever, you're working on something with other people, you want your lines to match. You want to deliver the right kind of lines. He said a lot of them worry about it, and he would often tell them the lines are just not going to be, they're not present on the screen for enough time for people to see. He says, don't worry. And this is a, you know, master of delivering high quality animation. He wouldn't have this opinion. He wouldn't share this take and deliver the quality that he does if it was impacting the quality. He said, don't worry about the lines, worry about the volumes. So it's like, if you've got, you know, frame 1, you've got an arm like that. Frame 100, it might be in a new position or something, but you've got to have an arm like that. You can't end up with an arm that's all thin like that. That's a volume issue. Or you can't have, or maybe it ends up nice and muscly on the last frame. That's close enough, right? But you can't have it be all thin and noodly in the in-betweens, or you can't have it get all long or something in the in-betweens. It's the volume that is gonna, that's what people notice, because that space, that volume is filled with ink and paint and color, and it's those big areas of color you see moving around. So don't worry so much about the lines. And I've been thinking about it lately. I'm like, yeah, I've actually dropped the line quality, not so much in what I'm doing right now, but I've got some janky lines in this new cartoon, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm going, this is, you just don't notice it in the playback. It's fine. It's the volumes. It's the head that goes too big or too large, or it's the neck that shrinks and gets thin. That's the stuff you notice. It's not the line quality. Have broken lines, have thin lines, have crackly, whatever, ugly, wrinkly lines. It's the volumes. It's this leg that starts long and then magically gets short. That's the kind of thing that is a volume issue. It's about the character's size and dimension. Anyway, my nose is getting stuffed, which happens on live stream, so I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back with you. Be right back. If you have any questions, I will gladly answer them, and I'll be right back in about 30 seconds. Thank you for waiting. I had a big jug of water when I sat down an hour ago, and it flushed right through me, baby. Right through me. FunCube says 30 seconds must be the quickest pee in history. Nah, baby, I just made the smart choice to have the office in my house fairly near a toilet. The pee-pee house, we call it. Alrighty. I know what I've got to do, and it's not fun. I've got to... There you go. I've got to turn that leg in. Okie dokie. And then I've got to take the character and do the line separations, which are the ugly green lines that separate the shadow. Luckily, he only has one kind of shading on him. Oh, but the shading flips. Of course, because it's on this side, but then we flip the animation for the walk cycle. So he's got to be like that. Basically, we have to have the shadow slide around. color that there. It's funny. That will be fine. Yeah, that will be fine. Have it sort of disappear off this side of the chest and kind of appear on this side of the chest. There we are. All right. Okay, alright, so those two frames are pretty much good to go. And we are back. Okay, hey, Odd Chippy says, forget Dr. P's, me Dr. P's. Baby! It wasn't that long of a P, was it? Am I still... Yeah, I am broadcasting live work. I worried there for a second that I was still showing the silly little intro video. I hadn't put it back on onto the live stream yet. Supas Joe or Supas Foge, I don't know how I say your name. Super says I watched some of Galaxy High, which you recommended back in Sleepy Cabin. Did I recommend it? I was fascinated with the amount of polish that first episode. Yeah, I think the first episode was the thing that did it for me. I don't know if I watched more beyond that, but I'd probably seen it pretty recently and it was still on the back of my mind. Yeah, it's a really cool looking show, Galaxy High. It's got some fun character designs. I think some people worked on it, some pretty big names in animation. I want to say who? Maybe like Chris Columbus or something worked on it. He's not a big name in animation, but he's a big name in film. I want to say some great big Nephilim worked on it. Alright, so we're going to take these broken frames and learn to fly, and I will now get to coloring them. So I will take 1 second to do this and import them. I will be back very, 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 very quickly. See you in 2 seconds. The live stream to arrive, blackbird fly. All right. So this is what we're doing here. We've got. Come on. It's struggling a little bit. There we go. Save that. Oh, yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. Hey, Davy88 is now Davy8869. You've had a name change, Davy. How you doing? Long time no see. All right, so we start on this. Oh, come on, Harry. Start on this frame here, and then it's a little turn like that just to get us to there. Feels a little snappy, but it should be fine. I think the lines are a little thin on the frames I just drew. Maybe they could be a touch thicker, just a touch. No, it hates doing that. It always screws up. This is me. I'm worried about I'm worried about the line thickness. Like I'm not learning my Richard Williams lesson from earlier. But I'm frustrated. I left that little bit of brown in there. Is there a reason? Is that in the? Why is that the case? Why have I ignored that little bit of color there in the strap? It seems a silly, foolish thing to do. Wait. Draguo says, I'm not sure why I was thinking about you when watching Squim. Your animation style is really not like that. I mean, I think I could animate the Squim character in that style. Had I been asked to do that, I had nothing to do with Squim, but that animation is beautiful. I'm not saying I could do it quite as good as that, but I think I could get close. I think I could have been, I don't know, maybe like an assistant on Squim. Once you can cover Dr. Bees and Starbarians, I hope to see more Partridge in season 4 of Smiling Friends. I mean, animation-wise, I don't think that's on the cards. Not for any interesting reason. Just I don't think I think I would have been asked by now because they're probably, I don't know, are they in production on season 4? I have no clue. I have absolutely no idea. Would I do it? Well, I have a lot of things that I want to do my end. You know, it's ridiculous how long my films take me. So, maybe if the money was there, the money, we've got to have money. If the money was good, I would consider it. Because season 1, I know the budgets were lower on season 1, and when we did MIP, me and my team of animators did MIP on season 1, the budget was stretched pretty thin. So if it was a different thing, different situation, and they wanted me to come back for something, I would take that into account most definitely. Alright, so we're gonna put in the black now on them gloves. Oh, what's going on there? Oh, I see what I've done. A fool of a toque. And coloring that little bit of shading there on the honey. The honey. Hey, okay, Davy88 is back to the Davy88 that we know and love. That was freaking me out. A name change. Of all things to go and do is to pull the old switcheroo of the name on me. I need an environment that's consistent so I don't get scared and panicked. Oh, lose that little bit of detail there in the boot. Scruffy job there on the hair. Let me see now. Draguo says I should have suspected it was Cosperry, but you associate him more with Don Bluth. I don't think Cosperry animated it. It was designed by Cosperry. Pretty sure that it was animated by other people. The design, I don't think is even that Cosperry, particularly. Like, yeah, I would associate him more with like animal characters or something, not the kind of Pac-Man type. But yeah, I don't think it was animated by him at all. I think it was all done by other people. Alright, so we've got a little bit of black there in the hair. Oh, the bee. The bee has black stripes. So let's put some black stripes on the bee. Some black there on the skull cap and the eyebrows and the moustache. Alright, that looks good. Okay. Alright. Is that it for the black? Have I done? No, he's got some more on his hat there. His stupid hat. And more on the strap. Good lord. Good lord. So many colors on this guy. Okay. Alright, let's make the background a more interesting color, because we're going to be sick of just seeing white on white. White on white violence. There we go. A nice... nice. There's also a flesh tone. Actually, that's too close to Dr. B's flesh tone. Let's see. What does he not have on him? I mean, he doesn't have any sort of pink. Bright pink. Salmon pink. There we go. That's not salmon, but that's more like a Barbie pink. We'll go with a Barbie pink. And we'll do some of those color fills in. Hey, Shucharu's in the chat. The chat. Hey, Shucharu's a super talented animator. Made a bunch of music videos. Actually, really fast animator too. Shucharu is like prolific. Crazy prolific. Shucharu says, hello Harry, can you talk to us about Hap-Haras Two House? Can I talk to you about them? I don't really have anything to say. They're out there. They're out there in the world doing their own thing, raising their own family now. They don't call me very often. Hey, Jack Humferson. Jack Humferson says, love the streams. You really love the streams, Jack. I don't believe you. But thank you, Jack. Much appreciated. Hey, Tamagotchi. Good to see you, Tamagotchi. Long time no see. Tamagotchi says, if it ain't my good friend Harold Poopage. How are you doing on Wasp Guy? It's going so fucking slowly. Scott, Animated Tacos, says, happy holidays, Harry. Merry Christmas. No, I'm not. Happy holidays to you too, Animated Taco, aka Scott, my good friend. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're getting a lot of G.I. Joes this year. I hope you're getting... You know what I want this year? I want Headman. I want Headman version 2. The superior version of Headman. That's a G.I. Joe figure for all you normies out there. I'm getting a bunch of comments from nowhere. I'm trying to animate here. Dragwo says, I was thinking about Zero-L for a moment. But yeah, Zero-L actually, I thought Squim was done by Zero-L for a minute, but no. Yeah, it is Adobe Animate. Kano Haro. Dylan Rover says, I'm making my pilot. You need a plane for him to fly. You can't just make the pilot. Google user. Hey, Google user. Hey, Arch Hippie again. Oh, you're still here. He's fond of the streams too. That's good to know. Tikla Studios also enjoys Shucharu's work, I think, from the looks of it. Oh, no, you're talking about Happy Harry's Hoo-Ha-Hoo-Two-How-Toos. Yeah, I haven't thought about those in a long old time. Okie dokie. Alright, so let's put in some colour on our Dr. Bees. Oh, I forgot. He's got shading on his legs too. Have to... Oh no, what have I done? What am I doing? Go ahead, put the shading on the legs. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay. There we are. There we are. Alright, so we've got the shading now on the top half that actually has the line separations, because I remembered to draw those, and get those in there. Get them in there. Why are you wanna? Why you? Fuck. Can we get the soundboard going? It's been so long since I got the soundboard going.
Fucking thing sucks.
How is that? Does that have any? Can you hear that? Like this, it's fucking distracting. Hey, King says, "Oh shoot, you're still live. I thought you streamed 4 hours ago." No, I think I probably set it for 4 hours to go live at about an hour ago. Drag says, I love how I could recognize Zero-L's animations by how he animated some eyes in Digital Circus. Wow, he did? I didn't know that. That's cool. Tikla Studios, so by the way, you guys got anything you want to cook or make for the holidays? You know what I ate today? Ooh. Okay, so I don't think I'm unadventurous with food, right? And there's one thing though I'm not good with, which is weird meats. I'm not good with. And today I had 3 weird meats because my uncle was in town, and I went and hung out with my uncle at my mum's, which was great. And I didn't get my uncle a Christmas present. Not that that was probably expected, but he gave me a while ago, he gave me a moose sausage, and that's not a euphemism. That's not any kind of phallic euphemism. He gave me a moose sausage from Norway, and I didn't eat it. Never. The time was never right. I never said, oh, you know what I fancy right now? Moose. This is only a couple weeks back, so I still had it, and I thought, oh, you know what? I'll bring it along because I'll give it back to him and see if he wants to share this moose sausage. So I brought along this moose sausage, and just by chance, he'd also brought along 2 new kinds of sausage: elk and reindeer. No, sorry. Yes, 3. Sorry, elk. Wait, what was it? Did he give me moose? Maybe he gave me elk. I forget. It was whale, reindeer, and elk or moose were the 3 kinds of sausage that we had. Now, this is not. I'm not an adventurous guy with that kind of with meat. So we tried all of these kinds of sausage, and the whale tasted good, and then the aftertaste came. It was so heavily seasoned, it was just like a salami type thing. It was fine. And then you get the aftertaste, and it's crabby, it's fishy. The reindeer, I think it was reindeer, was not as good. It was just dirty tasting and fatty, and I didn't like it at all. I didn't like any of them, but the whale was like tolerable. And then the elk, I think it was the worst thing I've eaten in a long time. I tend not to get grossed out by food that much, but I'm not that adventurous anyway. But it was horrible. It tasted like trash, like garbagey, kind of a garbagey, dirty sort of taste, you know, like an old kebab that's been rotting or something in like a sink for 3 days. But more than that, it wasn't just the taste of the elk, it was the way that it had a very fatty content, and the fat coated your mouth in a way you couldn't get rid of the taste. So like you could spit it out, but then you had this elk fat in your mouth. And I ate chips, and I had a Coke, and I had like another flavored drink, and I had all these chocolates, all these Christmas foods laying around, and I'm just eating like a madman, not because I'm hungry at all, but because I'm trying to get rid of the taste of the elk fat, and not only the taste, but the literal fat in my mouth. So what I put my finger in my mouth, and I'm scraping and digging away the inside of my mouth, trying to get rid of the fat. It was the worst thing I'd eaten in a long time. So elk sausage, not a phallic euphemism. An actual phallus would have gone down smoother, I think, and left less residue in my mouth. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. So anything I'm planning to eat for the whole holidays? No, I was looking at a video today of somebody eating butter chicken and Indian food, and I thought, that looks really good. I'd like that. I don't want the fucking elk sausage anymore. Yeah, we talked about frog sauce or frog legs, and like, I don't want any of that stuff. Just give me chicken, pork. I'm like that fat guy in Mulan. He's like, chicken, pork, beef, whatever. I'm that guy. Just give me the chicken, the pork, and the beef. Kanoharo says, Never realized how ripped Dr. Bees is. Dr. Bees is, depending on how off-model the shot is, he's either shredded or kind of average build. But yeah, he's pretty fucking hench in this. And it makes it funnier, I think, that he's kind of stiff and puffy. He's a puffy boy. Alright. The color theory. Next to the Barbie pink, his purple looks quite drab. It looks quite dark and miserable. But then you see it next to like a blue or something, and his purple looks quite vibrant. That's color theory, baby. Yep, come on. So I ranted about sausage there for like 5 minutes. Did I miss any super chats or not super chats? Excuse me, you can't send super chats. We have a PayPal link, but we don't have any kind of super chats. Did I miss anything in the conversation? Arch Hippie says, I've heard that Eskimos eat whale meat and blubber. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if I lived in the freezing conditions they do, I wouldn't be so fussy about what I was eating, but I don't. So I can be a little bit more selective. The weirdest thing I've eaten is a shepherd's pie filled with mercury. Google user, why are you eating mercury? That's not good for you. You know, mercury content is quite high in tuna, so I love tuna. I would easily eat a tin a day if there were no drawbacks. And I thought for the longest time, like, oh, that's an easy, cheap way of getting a bunch of protein in. But unfortunately, it has drawbacks. It has a lot of mercury. So if you eat a tin of tuna every day, you're going to be accruing mercury in you. I hear that it's better to eat smaller fish. You get less mercury from smaller fish. Maybe even smaller tuna would be better. So if you eat cheap, bad, bulky kind of tunas, you're going to get a lot of mercury if you're eating too much of that. But, you know, I probably still have a tin a week or maybe every 2 weeks. I do. If you can make it fluffy and smooth, like we have the, I don't know what you call it, we have like the pink tuna here a lot. We don't have the albacore tuna, the white tuna that you get in America. We don't really, it's available, like you can find it here, but it's expensive and it's not really viable. It's not common. Alrighty, alright, so let's get this. We got a stupid strap on his head. Oh no! Dr. B's very briefly there, getting me in trouble. And there you go. There you go. He's got his son has got his hat on. Hip 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 hooray. Son has got his hat on and he's coming out to play. Animated Tacos says he's literally eating a tuna sandwich right now. Albacore tuna or that chewy pink tuna? I don't know what it's called. The other one. So what are your plans for the holidays, everyone? Do you still have another 10 or so days of work ahead? Are you going to take the rest of the weekend off? Are you traveling? It's a lot of stress traveling during the holidays. Although I looked at flights the other day. So I was thinking about, well, the opportunity maybe to get my wife home for Christmas, but she's going to have to see her family after Christmas now, which is kind of stinky. But looking at the cost of flights, they were actually really good. And I thought, are just so many people these days going, well, I can't travel during the holidays, that's crazy. I'll travel after the holidays, or I'll travel before. Are so many people doing that no one's actually traveling during the holidays? Surely not. Surely not. But it looked that way at the price of, unless maybe demand doesn't actually affect flights that much. I thought they did. I thought that it was always going to be crazy expensive during Christmas. I was on, what website was it? I forget. Some kind of aggregate website that throws a bunch of different, services up at you, and you can pick the most reasonable, pick the less destructive option to your finances. This stupid bee has way too many colors. Because he's a stupid bee. Alright. Yeah, he's got way too many shades of brown going on with the strap and the three kinds of brown and the maroon too. I always get confused here coloring this stupid bee. Antennae, antennas, antenulius, antonites. I don't know what they're called. What do I look like? A biologist? FunCube says, well, next week I'm going to go to a hotel with the whole family for a week celebrating my mother's birthday. Hey, happy birthday to your mother. And on Christmas I'm going to cook a goose with my mum and one of my brothers. That sounds good. I've never eaten goose. Never eaten goose. It's a classic thing though. It's like Christmas Carol, are they cooking goose in a Christmas Carol? That seems like a very... I would try goose. I think that would be good. I like duck, so I don't think that would be too much of a shock to the system. Tikla Studio says, I have to save dollars and travel after the holidays. Yeah, that's when I think it would be cheapest. It tends to be that way. Animated Taco says, come on over. You deserve a post-animation release treat. Yeah, well, there's a lot of if there, buddy. If the cartoon is done, and I wouldn't be going. I'd be sitting tight, I'm afraid. It's a little bit too financially out of the question right now that I would be attending the Americas with my wife. She needs to see her family, and as much as I love my in-laws, I'm actually very lucky, very blessed with decent in-laws, very decent in-laws, lovely people. They are not my blood family first and foremost. So if anyone gets a ticket, it's gonna be Joyce. I do joke about visiting her family though and leaving her behind. I think that would be very funny to do one time. I'd like to do that. I think it'd be great. It'd be good for morale, I think, to abandon her to the wolves here in England. We used to have wolves in England, I think. I don't know what happened. I think they all migrated to Spain for the cheaper holiday homes and the good weather. Don't learn the language though, which is a bad look for us. They still speak English, those wolves. Thank you for choosing to believe in me, Animated Taco. Hey, Jonathan Moritz says, take the time you need to make the quality animation you know you're capable of. I thank you so very much, Jonathan, but I'll be honest with you, buddy. I never make animation that I think is never actually, like, I'm never testing the real ability. Look at this crap. This is so Saturday morning. I'm never actually doing anything that I think is particularly taxing or challenging. It just takes forever because it's animation, you know? Even the crappy stuff takes a long time, so I'm never really at max power. And if anything, I've got to pump stuff out quicker. Look at that! I didn't even draw his dimple there. I left his dimple off on that chin. So thank you. I appreciate the support. It's very nice. A lot of supporters and fans are like, "Hey, take all the time you need," and often I just want to say, "No, I want to get them done in less time. I want to take less time than I need." But a gun to my head. I've thought about it. So my wife is a big fan of Homestar Runner. And I like Homestar Runner too. I watched it actually, I watched it around 2004, 2005, 2006, quite regularly. I really love the Brothers chaps. I think their comedy is really quite unique and very clean comedy, Homestar. You could show it to a 5-year-old. But it still works for adults, which I think is quite rare. But I was watching it with her recently, and it's so good. It's so fucking economic. It's so, like, there's no extraneous animation. There's no complicated drawing. Everything's pretty, like, I think they worked hard, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty economic, let's be honest. Because it had to be, because they were pumping out 4 or 5 minutes a week for like 10 years or something crazy like that. Just constantly making content. And all of the quality, all of the entertainment value is really in the writing and the voice acting and the jokes. And I'm jealous. I'm just sitting there going, I don't want to do what I'm doing anymore. The way I'm doing it is this stupid way to do it. And I might be done with the old way. I might have to hang it up and just for a couple of years pump out some easy stuff. Just regular, I'd love that. Just regular little short animations that are easy to do. Why not? So no, there's no law against it. A few people might go, you should do the complicated animation that takes forever. But I don't want to do that anymore. I'm getting sick of that. Might be nice to take a couple of years off. Who isn't a fan of Homestar Runner? I agree, Senator Grape. It's great. Well, then I say keep churning it out, Harry. Well, thank you, Arch Hippie. I'm glad somebody's on my side. I bring you people here to defend me, and the only one on my side is the blood-sucking lawyer. Arch Hippie, the blood-sucking lawyer. The artistically stupid way. The skills of an artist. I want to have the skills of an artist, but the upload speed of a Chapman brother. Yeah, I hear you, Anime Attacker. Make a budget conscious. Yeah, it doesn't all have to be budget conscious. I'm thinking about, what about an easy series and a hard series? Force yourself to make it in a week challenge. Rob, hey, Rob L. Rob, hang on. Is that... It's not the Rob, is it? It's not the super special Rob. I don't know which particular Rob that is. There's a few important Robs in my life. Anyway, yeah, force yourself to make it in a week challenge. I love that idea, and I'd like to do some stuff like that. I think that could be fun. Senator Grape says, you've got your own thing? You've got your own thing? What does that mean? Yonatan says, in my humble opinion, I find your animations some of, if not the best quality animations on this platform. Yonatan, you're not watching enough animation. Go and see some Zero L. So, you know, go and see some Adam Phillips or, there's plenty of people out there that are way better than me, but thank you. The fact that you do it alone is mind-blowing. It's not always alone. Sometimes I have help, but this one's pretty... Okay, not a known Rob. No, all right. Well, sorry, Rob L. I was talking to a Rob earlier today. I was talking to my Uncle Rob, my Uncle Robbie, and he said, oh, I'll come by your live stream later. And I was like, oh, is that my uncle? Does he have a YouTube channel called Rob L? It wouldn't be L. I don't know what L2517 would mean. Yes, hello, Gravelord Nero, or Nairo. This is another Dr. Beast. Alright, we got to finish off these... This is the stinky thing about doing live streams, right? I managed in an hour and a half to do 2 frames, because I'm taking forever talking it up. But we're going to stick these frames in the thing, wherever is the thing. Here's the thing. Alright. So he's got this little walk that he does. Oh, God. He's really upset at this point. So we got to line these up with the other frames. And put them in. And at some point, I'm going to need to do a background. Which is, they're in front of... It's supposed to be an apiary, but it's not going to look anything like an apiary. It's going to look like the New York Public Library was the reference point. So I'll have to draw. I've drawn it once for a nighttime scene, and now I've got to draw it for the daytime. And I can reuse one of the nighttime scenes and just change the colors. But other than that, it's all new backgrounds, which are going to be very fun to do. Oh no! Hang here. It's a little bit too big. This is how I sync up animation from multiple different places. I just have to do it manually, which is really silly, but that's fine. Okie dokie. There we go, like that. Alright, so get rid of this ugly thing. Break it apart. So something like... Oh, you can really see the lines suddenly go thick. Yeah, you can tell the line thickness is actually does read. I was talking earlier about how you never notice the lines being of inferior quality, but those lines are a bit stinky. It's fine, you know, just play it back. It's okay. Oh, it'll be fine. That'll do the trick. I gotta get this thing done anyway. Alright. Animated Taco says, not the Rob L we deserve, but the Rob L we need. Well, that would... Hey. Any Rob L is good with me. You love those cool designs too much. Gotta simplify, says Davi88. Animator 11 says he did something bad, didn't he? Who did something bad? It looks funny. It's fine. Yeah, RJB is supposed to look funny. That's good. Imagine another Starbarians offshoot originating in some silly April Fool's joke like what feels like 1999. Yeah, I mean, Fun Cubes, you may not be too far off there of something that I end up doing. I have some ideas. I want to just upload more. I'd like to go monthly. All right, that's fine. We'll just save that. in the thing, and let me see. No. All right. Okie dokie. So let me see some of the other shots that we got. We've got this thing to do. I gotta color that stupid tomb, and maybe look at the animation there. He's entirely motion tweened, this Dr. Beast. We'll get to that in a minute. Actually, that might be interesting to show on the live stream because we're gonna be wrapping it up in about half an hour, and yeah, we'll wrap it up in half an hour. But I'll just put in the animation that we finished off today, and wait for that to arrive. Gravelord says, I love your Starbarians comics. I discovered it with Benzai, the French content creator, showing it. Well, thank you, Gravelord. Did you get it in French or did you get it in English? Because Benzai translated the French version. I hope he did a good job. I'm sure he did. Because he's so funny in English. He speaks English so well. Obviously, French is his, you know, his first language. I'm sure he's very funny in French too, but I don't speak French, so I have to take your word for it. Let me know if it's good. Senator Grape says, I always wanted to ask if you consider yourself a perfectionist, but I think I know the answer. No, I'm not a perfectionist at all. If I was a perfectionist, I'd never get anything done. Because how can anybody be a perfectionist? Because nothing is perfect. Like, if you tried drawing the perfect, I don't know, lemon, it would, you know, take me 800 years to try and get it perfect. I'd die before I would be finished. So, no, I don't think I'm a perfectionist. I actually think I settle for what I can put out and call done. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's a useless way of, that's a useless semantic thing. Yeah, I'd say that I probably am to some degree a perfectionist. I'm trying to be less of one. But it's tough because I feel like I judge other people and I don't want them to judge me too much. And I want to put out good work that is judged well and looked fondly upon, I suppose. Is there just the... Okay, he's missing his... So weird. He's like missing his monocle for just a few frames. That's weird. How do I select that? Here we go. We just need the monocle, baby. That's such a weird thing that I left off there. How do I forget that? Oh, Gravelord says, I got the original version, I admit, because I always get my comics in English, even if I'm French. Well, that's awesome. It's great that you speak 2 languages, presuming that you speak... Well, of course you're speaking English to me now, so yeah, that's awesome. Senator Grape, this is absolute artist. I don't think I am an absolute artist. I think I'm whatever, man. I don't want to analyze myself too much. Okay, can we just make this look good? How do you get that to... No. Oh, that's fine. The eyebrows covering it. All right. Okay, so we got this shot. Everyone's pointing and laughing at Dr. Bees, and he's like, no, and then he walks off like that. All right, that's fine. That's fine. We did our little transition between the 2 static poses. We just needed something. His foot, like, it slides. Look, it just kind of starts moving without... He's basically... Both of his feet are off the ground at the same time, which doesn't really happen when people are walking. When they're running, yeah, but when you're walking, you're kind of one foot is usually pretty well planted. But whatever. Whatever, man. It's the United States or whatever around here. Hey, bye-bye, Dylan Rover. Thank you for being here. Hey, Techno Dorito. Hey, Harry. Hey, Techno Dorito. Animated Taco says, you can only be a craftsman, and a damn good one, whether you're an artist is up to everyone else. Yeah, that sounds like a good take. That sounds about right. I don't want to analyze it too much. Like, I don't like the question of, do I make art or do I make entertainment? I don't know. I want it to be entertaining. If it stumbles into being art at any point, that's cool, but I want it to be entertaining. I don't want to put too much pressure on you or anything. Senator Grape, you didn't do that. It's fine. Hey, I'm walking here. Hey, that's a good New Yorker thing to say. Hey, I'm walking here. Hey. Although he looks like too insecure there to be a New Yorker. You have to look way more cocky. All right, so the other thing we've got to do is color in this tomb. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, the glowing effect isn't playing back there. It's not supposed to be stuck there in the middle. It's supposed to have formed like a frame around the whole image. But it's a nice little scene I've got of, I did that yesterday. That is the American Gothic, famous painting, but with apes. The thing isn't playing back there. That's supposed to be like that kind of thing. Dr. Beast is imagining a home for apes. Because somebody mentions an apiary, and he doesn't know what an apiary. He's never heard the word apiary before, so he assumes that's some sort of home for apes. That's an important plot point in the new Dr. Beast cartoon, hopefully releasing this month. Okie dokie. So we got this shot of him opening up an old tomb, which is stupid. Nothing seems to go together. I promise you, there's methods to my madness, so let's just get the tomb colored in, because it's not many frames. We can do that before I close out in 20 minutes or so. And the color, let me see, I'm thinking the background is going to be a bit beigey orange, a bit like more like that for the background. Maybe I'll make it could be a little darker than that, maybe. I'm just trying to sort of. Okay, yeah, that looks about right. Now, this is based on a real tomb. This is the tomb, or what reliquary, whatever you'd call it. I don't know if he's literally would be, if the guy's actually in there. Oh no, look at this. Oh, that's no good. So the lines are getting corrupted there. See, if I break it apart, it deletes all that line art. Oh no! That's no good. We don't want that. Let me see what I can do about that. This is the tomb of an English king called Aethelstan or Athelstan. I actually don't know how you say the fucker's name, which is important because the name is mentioned in the cartoon. I gotta. How do I? Oh, okay. What's this? The green bits? Not. There's some element in the drawing which is not. It looks okay now. There's one element that is bothering me. Is that weird box? It's like a teal box that's drawn around it there. There's something that isn't. Okay, alright, whatever. It seems to have fixed it. Okay. Alright, fine. We'll move on. Okay, so it's a tomb. So it needs to be grey. The real tomb is in, I think, Marlborough or Wanborough, somewhere in Wiltshire, a borough of Wiltshire. And it is a stone tomb, reliquary, whatever you'd call it, like coffin kind of thing. And it's got to be stone grey. So this is the most boring thing I could possibly do on a live stream. I'm going to be coloring stone. So boring. But I'll try and make it fun. I'll try and answer some questions for the next half an hour, 20 minutes or so before I go. Let me see. I got some questions. Hey, Spencer Sketches, what's your dimension size for painted backgrounds? Depends. Really wide background, I have to make it like 8,000 to 10,000 pixels wide. I don't go super high res though. I kind of keep it all for 1080p because I don't want giant files. And if it's blurry, if it's painted and blurry, it's sort of, the resolution's not too important. Dr. Beast has a vector backgrounds though, not painted. Rob says, I think he was the first king. It's weird how we don't want. Yeah, I know. The education system's not really good with the older kings, but this is quite a lot of detail on this guy. But I thought, to me, it's funny if he's sort of slightly too detailed. Like, if it's really a specific thing, not just like a random old stereotypical king, but actually a specific person in history. Thought it would just be funnier if it was a bit on the realistic side. So I didn't trace it. It looks like I traced it maybe, but I did not trace it. Did not use AI. No, I stupidly just drew it. I just looked at reference of the real tomb, which is not too far from where I live. That's part of the appeal. I was like, maybe I could go and visit it once I'm done with this cartoon. Just go and see it and say, hey, I put that in a cartoon. I did. I'm sure. I mean, he's not going to care. He's dead. But I don't even know. I highly would doubt the body would be in there, any remains. But maybe that's how these things work. I don't know. I'm not a long dead king of the ancient past. Okay. Alright, so we've got some dark areas, we've got some light areas. I just want it to feel funny. Not funny, it's a tomb. You know what I mean? I want it to feel real. That to me is funny, if it sort of has a real feel to it. It's just grey stone, folks. I can't dress it up, alright? It's boring. FunCube says, it's going to be a rocky road, zing. Is that worthy of a zing, FunCubes? Gravelord says, the way you make the texture of the grey rock can be interesting, though, even though it's mostly grey. Well, this is all vector, sort of flat vector colours. I'm not really going to do any kind of texturing to speak of, but if it was a painted, image, I could maybe do that. Alright, so not a ton of shadows. The blue and the green separate. The green separates shading, I'm going to say. Or sorry, yeah, green separates shading and the blue for highlights. I shouldn't have added the highlights. I caught myself today. I was going to leave it with no highlights, and then I just started adding more detail. And I said to myself, Harry, why are you doing that? Why are you adding more? You didn't really need the highlights, because now you're going to put them on every frame. And I said back to myself, in a very thick Irish brogue, no, I said, I just don't want to move on to the next task yet, because I don't know what it is, and that creates resistance, and I don't like thinking, and it's much easier to turn my brain off and just draw endless in-betweens and not think. And that's a true issue, it's a true thing that I think artists can fall prey to, where you can be a busy idiot. You don't want to be a busy idiot. If you're going to be an idiot, at least have an empty schedule. But you can say, well now, I just have to spend all day sorting my art supplies, don't I? I'm an artist. That's what an artist does. No, you could do that in 10 minutes, or you could just not do it, and you probably get the same results from your art. You don't always have to do empty work to fill time. You should use your time in a way that is effective and efficient. And I think that I have a tendency sometimes. I think that's why I've fallen into the trap of, this is a fucking pain in the ass when it is filling in some random block of color. I don't want some little corruption there. Yeah, I think I've fallen prey to doing things like lots of in-betweens, because it is somewhat necessary. You can kind of trick yourself into, well, I got to animate on ones here, or I've got to add a little bit more shading. I got to do a little bit more detail here because it elevates the quality, and that's what I'm about. I elevate quality. I'm that guy. You can do that, but then you can do that so much that you don't actually end up having to come up with new ideas and challenge yourself to be more efficient, or just challenge yourself by thinking about things like, I don't know, working with people and outsourcing. You can become a busy idiot, and you're busy, but you're not using your time in a wise way. So I was a busy idiot when I'm adding highlights to this. Somewhat of a busy idiot doing a live stream too, but it's nice to connect with you, the lovely audience. So thank you for that. Alright, let me see what's happening in the chat. Daviate asks, is he a Tomb Raider now? I saw there was a new trailer for the new Tomb Raider. I feel like they've remade the first Tomb Raider 18 times now, but I mean, it looked fine. I didn't think her boobs were big enough. I feel like I have a thing with this. I feel like as a kid, I was always waiting for graphics to be really good in video games, because think of how hot Lara Croft will be when the graphics are amazing. Now the graphics are amazing, and they shrunk her boobs down, which I know that's very sexist to say that, but you know, I think it. I can't help it. I think it. I was looking at some people. There was a conversation yesterday about that game. What's it called? No, the one with the red-headed girl fighting the robot dinosaurs. She's got like a bow and arrow. Anyway, people were saying, you know, somebody created like an AI image where she was super hot, and they were like, the game would have sold better if she looked like this. And other people were, you know, rightfully saying, what do you look at games to get off? What's your deal with that? Why are you talking like that? You don't need that from a game, do you? You know, and maybe the kids want to play the game. It's not just for you, horny adult man. And I agree with all those points, and I'm looking at it going, yeah, I get that. But then I'm thinking, I know which version I'd rather play. Horny adult man over here. I know which version I'd rather look at. I'm not saying that's a good thing, by the way. I'm not saying you should pursue that kind of crass, lower, base nature when it comes to, you know, choosing your video game heroines. But I know which one I'd rather put my money towards. I'm not going to play either because I'm a self-employed artist, so that means that I have to work every waking hour just to break even. But the theory is that, you know, I'm horny. That's the theory. That's the principle that I'm trying to express. Anyway, Whoop 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 says, can't Lara Croft have bobs because woke? That's basically the point I'm making. You've made it far more succinctly and more eloquently than I have. I realize what I sound like. You don't have to make fun of me. Woot boot, whatever your name is. Horizon Zero Dawn, that's the game I'm talking about. Archhippie says the character is modeled off a much prettier woman, so genuinely is a failure of design. I mean, I'm sure she doesn't have cartoon boobs, the real woman, but I'm just, you know, this is the thing. I tire of reality. Give me the fantasy, please. Give me the fantasy. I'm going to be in the grave soon, okay? Fantasy me up, please. Gonna be in the grave soon. Just give me the option. Make it an option. Make it like the blood in Mortal Kombat. Make it so that I can turn it off if it offends thine eyes. Alright. Senator Grape. Can I ask my question again, or is it too annoying? Wait, what is your question? I missed it, dude. Gravelord says there is a lot you can do to games with mods. Oh, I know that for sure. And you know, bless them. Bless their cotton socks. Yeah, I was looking at some mods today. I always thought there would be more for the new Mortal Kombat games, but Mortal Kombat doesn't get a ton of support on PC. I know that the latest one is on PC, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of mods, not like Resident Evil. But no, I think that mods are healthy. I think they're a good, fun thing. You've paid for the product. Well, actually, a lot of the times people on PC don't pay for the product, but usually you've paid for the product. So I think that if there's, you know, an alteration, if I buy a tea cozy and it's too big and I want to take it in, I should be able to take in the tea cozy with a little needle and thread. I don't see, you know, Devora's rack being any different to that. No, I'm not Devora. Come on. I'm not that into bees. More of a Melina guy. If you want to make some edits, if you find the reveries and dreams of the Netherrealm employees are lacking, you should be able to do that, I think. Alright, I'm going to get off this subject now because I hear my wife walking around. We're going to talk about wholesome things. Alright, Senator Grape says, my question is, do you do the scripting entirely first, or is it a process where you revise as you animate? Yeah, a little column A, little column B. I come up with a complete script, but it's not that complete. I come up with a working script where I basically have every idea written down, and then it's usually a case of I get in the booth, and then everything starts to get rewritten in the booth. I'm like, oh, I don't like how that line sounds. I don't like how that joke sounds. That came out flat. That comes out weird. What would be funnier there? And that's like the first rewrite. And then usually I'm starting to animate it and put things together and animate stuff. And And I go, well, you know what, as like I'm using that audio track and I'm animating to that audio track, and I go, well, wait, this is still not quite as good as it could be. Let's re-record that line. And of course, if you re-record one line, sometimes you need to re-record two, or the one that sounded so good next to the old line doesn't sound so good next to the new line. So you tweak it and tweak it. And then sometimes I find I go back to the old lines. I go, well, you know, I like that thing I had for a while, but now it sounds weird. I find voice acting very hard, and sometimes what I think sounds great, because I'm directing and recording and acting, I'm doing all three, what I think is a good take, I go, yeah, I nailed it, great, it's great stuff, Harry. I listen to it later on, I go, that's not very good. Why did I think that was good at the time? One thing I can't do, and this is a tough thing with deadlines sometimes, is that I go, oh, that sounded really good, and then a week later I realize it wasn't good. And, oh no, this is doing annoying stuff. This is corrupting slightly. So what I need is a little bit of time between... Nothing can be created that day. And this is the problem. Whenever I create a piece of animation or whatever, a line of dialogue, and then it goes out in the cartoon that day, and I have no chance to tweak it or second guess it, I come back to it later and go, though that was totally not right. There's a bit in the cartoon, the Starbarians cartoon, the little 2-minute cutie palooty one that came out this year. There's a bit towards the end where right before the cartoon went out, I cut a shot right at the end. Before the very final shot, I cut the preceding shot. Because I showed it to Joyce and she was like, that bit's weird, what's going on there? And so I went, yeah, you're right. And I said, I don't really have time to reanimate, I really want this thing to come out. She says, just cut the shot that's a problem. So I cut it. And I don't like it. And I don't think that Joyce was wrong with her suggestion, but I think I should have actually animated a new shot. It really needed a new shot. So I really don't like the way that cartoon ends. There's this like thing of like, oh, Kilgar, what, you hate saving the environment so much it's totally reprogrammed your personality? And then Kilgar's just nice. And that it's not enough of a punchline of like, yeah, it has changed his personality. That's the whole point. He just goes from angry to being nice. And what I had in there was this sort of weird shot where his eyes kind of blink. So it wasn't like a complicated shot. It was easy to cut. And so I cut it and I didn't think anything of it too much. But what I should have had is like a moment of a real change of expression and almost like a sound effect of like kind of, I don't know, tires screeching or like a cash register or something of like, yeah, I guess I have changed personality. I can be nice now. And then have it be nice. And that would be funnier. It would be more of a lampshading of this is the joke. This is the punchline. Please laugh. Be a Jeb Bush, please clap moment. But it would have worked better. I shouldn't have. Any decision that I make last minute tends to be a decision that I will want to tweak later on. So beware of the last minute edit. Thumbcube says, when are we going to get the Partridge voice recording bloopers? I think I delete them all. I never, because I feel like bloopers maybe are funny with other people in the room or actors on a set. It's just me by myself. It's just this thing where I go, hey Kilgar, we got it. Oh wait, oh, hey Hogstrong, we got it. Hey Hogstrong, hey Hogstrong, we have to get the lithium batteries to put up my ass. Hey Hogstrong, and it's just that. It's just me doing the same line and making errors and going, no, that doesn't sound right. It's not funny. They're not funny bloopers. I don't like bloopers. I certainly don't like fake bloopers. The Bugs Life thing. All right. Are we gonna get this stupid tomb done in the next 6 minutes? I don't think we are, folks. Because somebody somewhere has been waffling. I'm not gonna say who. I'm not gonna say it's me or you. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus like that, you know. But somebody, some heavy set, blubbery lipped English animator who is running a live stream right now with about 3 viewers. Somebody somewhere, somebody of that description has been talking too much and not animating enough. I think it might actually be Ferris to blame you. I don't think it's me. I think it's you. I think you've been talking too much, keeping me too busy. Okie dokie. So that's okay. The last one is. Wow, come on. Have I not? Why is it not filling in? Oh, whatever. We'll do two of the colors here, at least, maybe 3. Couldn't quite get that last frame to color up. Drax gonna be quiet for an hour. Well, I gotta run in 5 minutes anyway. I said to Joyce I'd be no more than 2 hours tonight, and we're coming up to 2 hours, so you don't have to be quiet for very long. You don't have to be quiet at all. You can make mucho noiso, mucho cacophony. I shouldn't have eaten that 4 meter long salami stick. It really slowed down. Hey, I was the one eating the big salami today. Elk, reindeer, and whale. Don't eat elk. It's not good. It didn't sit well with me. I wasn't a fan of that. I wish I'd eat a 4 meter salami. That would have been all right. Hey, Adam X. I'm afraid you've caught the very end of this live stream. I'm heading off in a few minutes. But thank you for being here. Mr. Harry says Kanuharo. Have you seen the Batman animated series? I've seen a lot of it. I haven't seen all of it, but I like what I've seen. Yeah, of course. I love it, man. It's great looking, great sounding, good performances, good writing. It really doesn't let you down, actually, in any area, I don't think. It's good stuff. Although I haven't seen Mask of the Phantasm for a couple of years. A lot of people really rate that movie. I hear it get called like, this is the best Batman film. Mask of the Phantasm is the best Batman film. I watched it once and I didn't like it that much. I thought this is fine. I did already know the twist going in. The twist with the villain, with the Phantasm. I think I knew that because of the toys. The toy of the Phantasm ruins the twist. I think. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe on the box it doesn't ruin the twist. But I feel like if it doesn't on the box, I'd seen the toy out of the box anyway, or something like that. I'd known of the twist through the toy, which is not, it's not Bruce Timm's fault, but it did make that kind of whole twist ending not really land for me particularly. Which is unfair to the filmmakers. It's like going into seeing, I don't know, Sixth Sense or something, and knowing that Bruce Willis is really Taiwanese the whole film, and they never tell you. They just wait. They wait until the very end when Haley Joel, the Democratic Republic of Haley Joel Osment, invades Bruce Lee at the very end. Not Bruce Lee, Bruce Willis. Okay, Bruce Lee was Asian. Bruce Willis, I meant. Senator Grape says toy spoiler. A toiler, if you will. Yeah, it was a toy spoiler. I mean, those have happened before. If you actually... One major... What was one big spoiler that a toy threatened to release, which was the blank in Dick Tracy. The blank is the character that doesn't have a face. And the toy, I'm pretty sure in the box, the toy covers up who the blank really is. Because it's not really a person without a face. It's a person wearing a mask. It's very similar to Mask of the Phantasm, actually. And the toy, if you bought the toy and owned it and opened it, it would have ruined the twist. But not in its box. You'd have to take it home or know someone that owned it. And they were so... Disney was so on it. They were like, no, we don't want to ruin that twist. We won't release the toy. So they didn't release the toy until after the movie came out, and I think they only released it in Canada or somewhere like that. It was like a very limited, small release. So the Dick Tracy action figure of the blank is now super, super rare. And it's basically a really easy to buy toy line. They're not very expensive secondhand. They're just, you know, they're freely available. You can get a whole mint collection probably for like, I don't know, $100 or something like that. Except for the blank. Who's the coolest looking figure. Unfortunately, he's the only figure that's actually in a trench coat. Everybody in the movie wears a trench coat basically, and they didn't put the figures in trench coats for some reason. The coolest looking toy in the line. I'd love to have one. And it's like easily, I don't know, like $2,000 or something. How much is the Dick Tracy blank going for on eBay? I'd be very interested to know right now. Speaking of blanks, speaking of firing blanks, I wish I got more done on my live stream today. I wish I achieved more, but I'll be back. I may even do a main channel live stream. That'll freak them out. Those poor people. They won't know what's going on. But I'll be back soon because it's gone 9 o'clock now, and I've got to dip and go and hang out with my fair maiden and eat some chicken, which is our big plan for the rest of the day. Eating some chicken. And hanging it up, really. Is it Saturday night tonight? I have this stupid song I keep singing, which goes, it's a big chicken on a Saturday night. You eat a big chicken and you feel alright. Oh yeah, big chicken's beyond compare. Cause I eat big chicken and I feel good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the song I sing every Saturday night when we eat chicken. I don't know why. It's now because I sing this stupid song. She's like, all right, fucking, I'll cook chicken every Saturday night. We eat chicken probably every other night, so it's not really a very out there thing for us to eat it on a Saturday. And if she didn't want it on a Saturday, we'd just eat something else. It wouldn't be a big deal. But anyway, it's Saturday night, so I'm gonna go and eat big chicken with my wife, and I'll be back soon. Let me just finish this stupid frame. Are we done? All right. We get the idea. Dr. Beast comes in, and there's a scratchy black and white version of him behind him. That's a funny gag I've worked in. And then a tomb, which is only colored on the top half. It sort of glitches and infinitely loops. The lid is coming off. That's the gag. It's a very funny meta gag about animation budgets and schedules. Okay, everybody, I'm heading off. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me with your views, with your eyes, lifting me up with your big juicy eyes and watching the stream. And I'll be back again soon. So let me just list off a few of my favorite friends who have come by today. If your name is in the chat, or if your name is not in the chat, I'll do my best to remember it. But I say goodbye. Fun Cubes, Animated Taco, Kano Haro, Dave88, sorry, Kano Haro. I don't know how I say that. Senator Grape, Arch Hippie, Gravelord Nairo, Mushy Dubs. Hello, Mushy Dubs. I don't think I said hello to you yet. Also, we've got Adam X, and I think that's it. I think that's it. That sounds about right. And we had a few other people like Woot Boot Woot and Shucharo here, and a few others, but I think I'm running out of juice now. Rob L, of course, as well. I'm heading off, and you have a wonderful rest of your evening and your weekend and your 2025. And we'll talk again soon. All right, everyone. Goodbye now.